Senden ötürü kan dökmeye cümle kaderiz. Üç renkli bayrağınla mesut yaşa. Cümle gençler üç dağlı şanlı vatan.
להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Pouring into this sometimes and somewhat darkened world by important relationships and people who are willing to show courage, Homeland have an extraordinary gift, a relationship that they have honed together over 30 years. And imagine what it is for us as human beings to realize that we need so much today, not only to be taught by words and letters and stories, but to be inspired by the example of true efforts, people realizing what they can do in a world that's desperate for our doing, for our efforts. For us to live by our shared values. An American could tell you stories of Israel, but maybe that's not my place today. Maybe our Consul General Hillel Newman of Israel can share some of those stories. But what I'd like to do is tell you maybe a little stranger story, which is my experience as a Jew and a rabbi. On the rise in frequency, more and more.
Let me just tell you that my first visit to Azerbaijan, this coming Sukkot, it was in the midst of my 1 month in the Soviet Union in 1972. It'll be 50 years. So I want to tell you, I noticed that in one of the slides, it was only up for about a second or so, but maybe you saw a stack of matzot. Okay, so about 4.5 years ago, I was sitting with President Aliyev to send packages of matzah from the West to actual individuals in the Soviet are going to be able to be imported to the Soviet Union. There were 3 million Jews, the 55 synagogues were allowed to stay open. The following year, at a meeting with all of the SSRs.
I want to invite each of you, perhaps Consul General Newman first, and then Agayev, to share your thoughts.
Thank you, Rabbi Lipaz. Shalom, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. They've joined us, public officials, law enforcement authorities that are here, community leaders, and everybody. You opened with Russia, Ukraine. Let me say, of course, our hearts go out at the plight of human beings at this hour. I'd just like to mention 2 things about Israel. One, we have sent 100 tons of humanitarian aid, and we have already received in Israel more than 2,000 Ukrainians, and by the end of this month, we will absorb in Israel more than 15,000 Ukrainians. And let me add one thing, 90.
Rabbi Lipaz, and I applaud your leadership and the value you attach to the interfaith harmony, multiculturalism. So I'm very proud to call you my friend. Thanks so much. Because for Azerbaijan, this is a very important principle, the principle of territorial integrity, because we were ourselves affected by the violation of this principle 30 years ago, when our neighbor Armenia invaded Azerbaijan and expelled around 1 million people from their homes, from their lands. And that injustice lasted for 30 years until Azerbaijan restored the justice, restored the international law, and liberated its lands from occupation 2 years ago. But unfortunately, for all these years, the international community, except a few resolutions from the United Nations Security Council, was inactive. We didn't see any action to enforce the international law. These principles did not come out of the blue. They were introduced by great powers after the World War II to make sure that such wars do not happen again. And I'm not bored to repeat it. The first one which gave women the voting rights in 1919, before the United States. So Azerbaijan's, the principle of secularism for us, the separation of religion and state, is extremely important for us. And I think the key to our success in bringing religions together, in ensuring this atmosphere, environment of harmony in Azerbaijan among religions, has been also our secularism.
Gözümü yolda koyup bir yuvan yar neydim? Gözümü yolda koyup bir yuvan yar. Gözümü yolda koyup bir yuvan yar neydim? Gözümü yolda koyup bir yuvan yar.
Çin uçur varmazlar, gülüsünü darmazlar sargari. Çin uçur varmazlar, gülüsünü darmazlar sargari. Bu sevdana sevdadır, seni bana vermezler. Eynim aman aman, eynim aman aman sargayım. Bu sevdana sevdadır, seni bana vermezler. Eynim aman aman, eynim aman aman sargayım.
Yuvan sarımsan Azerbaycan, Anadolu'ma beterimsen Azerbaycan. Yurdum yuvan sarımsan Azerbaycan, Anadolu'ma beterimsen Azerbaycan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.